we'll look at how to change the position of the listener in game. This can be useful if your game requires a series of fixed listener positions, or if you want to implement some kind of spy microphone that allows the player to listen in on different parts of the map. In the center of the village, bookmark 1 of the demonstration level, we can cast our listening spell. We press F to activate the free camera, and then we fly high above the village. We can then press E to activate the listening spell. We get mouse control back, and we could choose to listen to a fire, or zoom in on what the pigs are up to. And we could even eavesdrop on the miller and the blacksmith, who appear to be causing each other some degree of misery. That woman blacksmith's gonna be the death of me, I swear. Bang, bang, clang, all woman dead.
Grind, grind, grind. That mill never stops.
This is all handled in this blueprint listener spell, and you can see the collision of that blueprint here. So we needed to get into that area by flying above the village in order to be able to activate the spell. And once we were overlapping with that, we could activate the spell. And this does a bunch of stuff to give us the mouse cursor. But the important bit is here, where we set audio listener override. And then what we're doing in this instance is we're taking a line trace directly down from the mouse location and setting the position of the listener to that location. This is a bit complex, so we'll do a simpler version in the village itself. So let's just get a reference to this boat over here, and we're going to set that to be our listener position. So we'll open the level blueprint. We'll create a key press just to test this out. So when we press Z, we want the listener position to change from the player to that boat. So we'll get player controller and we'll create our audio listener override. Now this one, we need to turn off the context sensitive menu to find it. So set audio listener override. And our target is the player controller, because that's going to be where the listener is based by default when we start the game. And we want to change the location of the listener. So we'll make sure we've got that boat selected in the level, and we'll create a reference to it. So we need to turn context sensitive back on. We get a reference to the boat, get actor location, and add it there. And then perhaps we want to flip-flop between the player controller and the boat, switch them back and forth. So let's create a flip-flop. So when we press that Z, we'll firstly listen in as if we were listening from the location of the boat. And then here we want to clear the audio listener override. And again, to find this node from the right-click menu, you need the context sensitive option unchecked. And again, our target is the player controller. So back in the village, by default, our listener position is with the player. And here as we wander around, I'm going to press Z. Now you can hear our listener is over where that boat is near the lake. And I press Z to flip it back to the player controller again. We've seen how to override the audio listener in order to set the listening position to specific locations in the game. We also need to consider the audio listener position when making games that have third-person views, or for 2D or isometric games.